Hello everybody, my name is Eli. I'm a writer for Nintendo Enthusiast. You may know me from the site as the numbers guy, the guy that's usually looking at all the sales figures, pre-order totals, everything pretty much. And tomorrow we get NPD data. Now NPD data is the data released every month from NPD. It's pretty much the sales data for video games, hardware, in the US specifically. No numbers are ever released, those come from the companies themselves, but usually we get a glimpse of how well software is selling, and usually hardware manufacturers also reveal how well their consoles are selling. So tomorrow is actually going to be about September, and the big games that we should be looking out for are Theatrhythm, that's the first one, Hyrule Warriors for the Wii U of course, and lastly FIFA 15, because that did in fact come to the 3DS and Wii. So first of all, let's look at Theatrhythm. Now, Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call is the second game in the Theatrhythm franchise. The reason why the sales of Theatrhythm are actually important is because Square Enix did talk about how they plan to continue the Theatrhythm franchise. Now, they're really only going to do this if Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call sells well. They said they're done with Final Fantasy. However, if the game sells well, they might do Theatrhythm, Dragon Quest or Theatrhythm Kingdom Hearts. Now, these are games I'd like to see. So, indicative of how these games sell in the US in September, might be telling as to whether they'll be continuing the franchise in the future. We know that the game sold pretty well in Japan, however, it should probably do pretty well in the US before they consider putting money into a sequel. Now, the second game we should be looking at is the almighty Hyrule Warriors. Now, Hyrule Warriors is actually really important. It did okay numbers in Japan, definitely not great, but decent-ish. It sold about 70,000 in its first week. Now, for a Zelda game, that's not too bad in Japan, but considering it is a Dynasty Warriors game at heart, it did not do too great. In the US, the reason why the sales matter is because it's a really telling sign to Nintendo. Should Nintendo be paying third parties such as Tecmo Koei or Namco Bandai or Capcom to produce games for them? Is it worth it? And in fact, if the game doesn't sell too well, then Nintendo might take it as a sign that no, they shouldn't invest all this money. However, if the game sells pretty well, then they might be more willing to take risks like this in the future. And that's also going to be very important to see how Bayonetta sells this month, because that will also be very telling to Nintendo whether they should even waste money on this or spend money on this. So Hyrule Warriors specifically is important because Zelda is obviously a big name, so if Hyrule Warriors could not shift units with the Zelda name, then why should Nintendo spend all this money on third-party stuff and third-party development, even though, of course, it is a first-party published game? So that is also a big factor. Now, thirdly, we've got to look at FIFA. Can't even get through without laughing. FIFA 15. It did come out for the 3DS and Wii, not the Wii U. And NPD actually releases how well the game performs on each system. So if it performs the worst on the 3DS and Wii, then it might be an end to FIFA support in the future. I don't think anyone really minds or really cares, considering it's not coming to the Wii U. And the versions released, FIFA 15 is the Legacy Edition, and the Legacy Edition is pretty much the same as FIFA 10, no upgrades or anything, except a roster update. So I don't really understand why anyone would be too sad about that. But that is EA, of course, supporting the Nintendo consoles to the fullest. Lastly, hardware. Last month, when they revealed the August sales, it seemed like the Wii U and 3DS may have not performed too well, because Nintendo didn't release any numbers. Microsoft released Xbox numbers, Sony released PlayStation numbers, but we did not get any 3DS or Wii U numbers. Usually, when companies don't reveal their numbers, that means that they're usually not too good. So tomorrow, when the NPD update comes out, be very careful to look for that, because if numbers are not revealed, then it might mean that they're not too good looking. And if they are revealed, then they probably met expectations. And of course, last month's sales don't matter nearly as much as next month's sales will, because, Bayonetta and Smash should be driving the system forward. So thank you everyone for listening. If you guys like these sort of sales analysis and predictions, make sure to let us know. We'll keep them coming. And as always, keep gaming, and Bayonetta comes out next Friday, so make sure to pick that up.